need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Hello, good morning and welcome to National Discourse. And of course, yesterday was Children's Day celebration all over Nigeria. Of course, we celebrated our children, of course, telling them they're important than other. Now, today we have children in the studio with us. You know, they're going to talk about the Children's Day and, of course, a little more about. So if you think it's just adults that know about government policies and politics, wait until you meet my guest. We'll be back. We'll go for a short break. And I still remain your host, Uche Uduma. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest. And then you get glued to your TV set. And you can give us your questions for them and your contributions. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
what happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
All right, so welcome back from that short break. I told you I have two wonderful kids with me in the studio today, going to do justice to children's political thought. Like I said, it's not just the adults that know how to analyze politics and government policies. I have kids with me who will do justice to this. You're welcome. I have Michael and Gosfield. Probably you can introduce yourself formally the way your names are supposed to appear.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Ofieta. I'm 14 years old, and I'm coming from you live on National Discourse. Nice to meet you.
Right, you too.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gosfield Oborgo. Coming from National Discourse. Nice to meet you.
All right. Straight on to what we have today. Happy Children's Day celebration.
Thank you.
We know it's belated, but of course, yesterday was Sunday, so we didn't have the opportunity to be in the studio to talk about it yesterday. The Children's Day. Now, what do you think, quickly, before we move over to what we have today, children's political thought, what do you think are the roles of children to their parents? I'll start with you, Michael.
No, a child with parents is like their treasure. So, some of the roles, like when eventually the parents have to start getting old little by little, the child's role is starts picking up little activities in the house. They're supposed to take care of their parents when they're old. They should do their homework and represent their family and give their family a very good name. Those are very major roles for you to do with your parents for as us children?
Okay, Gasfield, straight to you.
First, you should be obedient to your parents. You should follow their advice, the advice they give you. You should do it. Of course, they'll get old, and you have to take care of them. And unfortunately, and very soon, you'll get to be on your own. Like you leave your parents' house, you get married, and you continue living life.
Now, it's not coincidence that I have two males with me, right? Good. Now, the question is, are there roles that are not expected of a male child, to carry out in the homes? Are there some roles that are kept? This is for female, or this is for male?
The thing is that I've noticed that in so many families. Sometimes when I go to my friend's house, the female children, they go and start cleaning the house, washing the plates, and the male children go out and start clearing glass and clearing the compound and all that type of stuff. I think that's how parents sometimes classify the roles of the house chores in the home. And sometimes I just realize that you're not supposed to just separate it, because of the male can also do other roles and do their own roles at the same time. What they're supposed to do is work together as a family to achieve a goal.
All right, you too?
I've seen in most families and most cultures where females just stay in the kitchen alone, while males do everything, do the house chores, washes clothes, sweep the house, clears everything in the house.
Now, what is obtainable in your own home?
My own home.
What is the role you actually play in your home as a male child?
I do every role. I can cook. My dad cooks.
That's nice. At 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Sisters do the same things brothers do. We work as a family, as one.
All right. You, Michael?
The same thing in our house, but the only thing is that we have someone that helps us carry out some chores. But us, me and my sister still go out. We still help her. We'll be assisting her. Sometimes we help her wash plates when she's not feeling too well. We used to clean the house too with her. So, and one thing I have to say is just that when you have a house help, some children will just take it for granted. And even parents too. How will you be eating with your family in the dining room and your house help is outside washing dishes instead of her being inside eating with you? In our own family, everything that we do, the housemaid does. Anything we eat, the housemaid eats. So she's like a family. She's like part of our family. She's one of our members in the house.
All right, now let's go back to the parents' role. What are the things you think that are very, very important and essential that parents should owe as a duty to their children? Apart from, I have brought into this world, because I've heard parents say, I have done my bit by bringing you into this world. What are the things the most specific things you expect from your parents?
The number one and utmost things I expect from my parents is education. Because without education, you will end up nowhere. Apart from that, some parents just need to sit down and understand their children. They need to they need to work hard and earn money to take care of their children in the house and their well-being. So those are very important rules for parents and their children.
All right, over to you, Goswill.
As he said, education. And then healthcare. Your parents need to take care of you really good. And quality feeding.
All right, now let's go back to what we have today. We are talking about children's political thought. Now, coming back to Nigeria, how well do you understand Nigeria as a political structure? How well do you understand our democracies? And what do you think is right or what you think is wrong? I'll start with you, Michael.
Nigeria, as you said, is a state. And what I mean by state is a government term for country or nation. Our country is democratic in nature. We elect presidents every 4 years, and that is very good. But one thing that happens in the country is that we allow some bad things into the country.
Like what?
Like now, all this terrorism that's coming here, there's some people in the country that help them carry out their activities. They used to help them ship arms from outside into the country and all those things. And that's actually very bad. Apart from that, all our drugs that have been shipped has been being abused. Like, for example, like I'm sure everyone will know what just happened recently with codeine, that they caught the person manufacturing it, saying that he just made a lot and they always ship into Nigeria and it's always abused. That's why now they have stopped shipping it into Nigeria. The president said he doesn't want to see codeine in Nigeria again. So that is one good thing. But all the drug abuse, rape, and all these crimes, that's the only thing killing our country. And the thing is that while we don't stick together as a nation, we're always head on head. Yes, if I don't have this, you cannot have this too. It's not just good for the country.
Now, do you know much about religious sentiment or ethnic? Rather, let me just give you this question this way. What do you think have divided us as a country? What do you think is the reason why it seems there is division in our country, Nigeria?
As you said, that's a very big factor of religion.
Good.
Sometimes in Nigeria now, some Muslims will be going to bomb Christian churches. Likewise, there are some very few Christians that used to go out and start killing Muslims because of, yes, you're not following my religion. My own advice is that no matter what religion you are following, it's still your life. Just take each other as brothers and sisters. You still go, your life will still carry on. You still go to work together, you still come back, eat together, all that. So your religion shouldn't really disturb you much, yes, because of, let's say, yes, I'm a Christian, you're a Muslim, I'm a Muslim or you're a Christian. It's not supposed to disturb you from being friends or living as one in a nation.
Right, straight to you, Gosfield. What do you think are the factors that have made us look divided as a country? I wouldn't want to say that have divided us, that made us appear divided in the eye of the international community.
Okay. Nigeria is one as a country, but we have some corruption going around Nigeria that makes
we'll get
us
to
divided.
that. Continue.
Like the civil war, the main action of the civil war, that was what made Nigeria divided into the north.
How long?
East,
It's been a long
south.
time that the
Yes.
civil war took place, right?
Yes.
Good. So how are we still living in the effects of the civil war that took place a long time ago?
Because of tribalism. Tribalism is something very, very bad. If an Igbo man comes to a Yoruba's man church and they worship, the Yoruba man will be very angry at the Igbo man. Like that's tribalism. You can be very rude to someone because it's not part of your culture. So when someone does something like that, it's very bad and it divides the nation.
Okay. So apart from tribalism, ethnicity, is there nothing you're thinking is supposed to be a factor that makes us seem divided as a nation?
Not really.
All right, now I want us to look at our political structure, if you understand Nigerian politics, right? Now, we're supposed to have elections next year. Am I correct?
Yes.
Good. Now, you know about party formations? Like the major parties we have in Nigeria. Now, what insight do you have about our political structure in Nigeria, Michael?
Well, about our political structures, for the past years we've had changes in election. Like PDP has ruled for over 4 years and going. So APC now is a formation of other parties coming together to go and fight against PDP to rule Nigeria. The thing is that the only reason why I think in 2019 election that people might choose PDP over APC is because when APC came in power, they said some things and it wasn't true. It didn't come true at the end of the day.
You mean there are some political, there are some campaigns that...
Yeah, there was false manifesto.
Okay, false manifesto. Okay, I'll come back to you on that, all right? What is your thoughts or your insight into our political structure right now as you see?
Okay, my dad is a politician though.
Really?
I think the 2019 election, the APC will still rule.
Okay, so why do you think so?
Because people think because our president is a Muslim and they are all Christians that we should just avoid him and don't even support him at all.
Bro, before the president came on board in 2015, he was still a Muslim and Christians voted him. So why are you thinking, why do you have a divergent thought?
From what I've seen and experienced, I see people against our president, but he still won the election. So Muslims, that's one of the reasons too why Nigeria is tearing apart. But
okay,
I
think because our president is a Muslim.
Yes.
That is why he's not getting some support.
Yes.
And you think the only people not supporting him are the Christians?
Yes, but other Muslims too don't support him most times.
Why do you think so?
Because they are jealous. I'm a Muslim, you're a Muslim, so why should you have power more than me?
Now, should I change if a Christian comes into power? Now, what happened during Goodluck Jonathan's regime? When we know that Goodluck Jonathan is a Muslim, right? Sorry, he's a Christian. Good. Now, did he get support of the Muslims or some Muslims?
He got support of some Muslims.
Okay.
Because now people think when Goodluck Jonathan was in power, that was when the Boko Haram came in. So people think he's the author of the destruction in Nigeria.
Well, I would disagree with that.
All right. Let me hear your thought.
Most people, like I've experienced it myself, when I go to different markets, maybe to buy food stuff, I used to hear when people are always saying that it's Buhari that is helping, is Boko Haram that is helping Buhari to win the election in 2015.
Okay.
Because of Boko Haram are threatening that if they don't vote for APC, that they will start killing.
Is it now or then before the election? Okay, before the election.
Yes.
All right, now have that changed now?
Yeah?
Have that changed now? That thought, has it changed?
No, nobody has really been talking about it, so it has probably changed.
So you think that is going to affect next year's election?
Maybe not, because of me. I'm not there, so I don't know what he's doing. I'm not the president. I don't stay in his office, so only God knows what is happening.
Yeah, you don't stay in his office and you're not the president, but the government policies, we are still getting to that, has a way of affecting you as a child. Of course, you're in school, right?
Yes.
And you have parents that take care of you.
Yes.
So what are the government policies do you think are not working for you? Are the government policies, the things that pronouncements from the government, I'm sure you understand what government policies are. Are there policies you think are affecting you, as a child? Are there government policies you think that are good for our country, Nigeria? Let's start with the good ones first. Good government policies.
The good government policies is that they are banning drug abuse.
Okay.
At all, misuse of drugs, you can get arrested like that.
Okay. Now, what is the effect of drug abuse? What is the effect of drug abuse?
But first, I'll start by defining it.
Okay,
So
what drug abuse means. All right,
drug
go
abuse
ahead.
is basically the misuse of drugs without the doctor's prescription.
Okay.
You just go and buy drugs like that out of nowhere and start taking it.
Okay.
So the effects of drug abuse is that you become shunned by the society.
Okay.
If people see a drug abuser, I'm not sure they want to walk up to that person and start talking to the person. Even us as we're conversating here, imagine if someone comes here, doesn't abuse drugs, and he talks to us, we'll be free with the person. But if a drug abuser comes here, maybe you can even see evidence of him, the way he acts, the way he talks, you might not feel too free with him, like you just want to take a step back from the person.
Good.
Drug abuse, it can also lead to death. Depends on how you misuse the drugs. Because there's some drugs that you misuse and misuse and misuse, and it starts damaging your liver and your system. The same thing with smoking. Smoking, when you smoke too much, you keep smoking, it damages your lungs and you won't be able to breathe properly. So it can kill you too. Another effect of drug abuse is that you get arrested. It gives you mental issues. because if you don't have that drug right now, right at that moment, you not want to do anything but get that drug right then at that movement.
So drug
That-
abuse,
yes.
in a nutshell, should not be encouraged.
Yes, you should not be encouraged
Okay.
at all, and that's why I like that they are taking on rehab very seriously now. But there's a rehab in northern Nigeria that they use chains to tie
Their
your
legs.
legs and tie you to the ground.
You think that's
So
not proper?
That's not proper. A proper mental hospital, you just stay in a room, a bed, and a toilet. There, nothing.
What
The only
if the
thing
person
they'll
is
give you-
aggressive, like even to the medical people that give him drugs or assistance?
That doesn't give you the right to start chaining people to floors, leaving you underground by yourself, chaining you to metals. It's not proper.
Okay, so what
It's against our
is
human
your
rights.
Human right, right?
Yes.
Now, what is your own thought, or what do you think is proper when it has to do with trying to rehabilitate drug addicts?
Number one, the person needs mental support.
Okay.
He needs someone that will be going there and be helping, taking care of him properly. Because some rehabs in Nigeria now, once you enter the rehab, they will treat you very rudely and aggressive. The people there might be aggressive to the other people that they're rehabilitating. So when you get there, they're supposed to keep you in a room with all you need. They're not supposed to drop you the drugs. You're supposed to stay in that room without drugs. The only time you will be able to come out is for activities, because there's some rehabs that they have basketball courts there, table tennis, that you'll be able to conversate with other people in the rehabilitation hospital. So that is a very good factor when it comes to rehabilitation, because of when you rehabilitate someone like that, it makes the person think, yes, why are you treating me like this? The person is not an animal. It's the same human being like you.
So
that's my own
even
thoughts.
those that needs rehabilitation attention, they are still human beings.
Yes.
And they're still entitled to their fundamental human rights.
Yes.
That's your take. All right, now straight to you, Goswell. What are some government policies that is still where we are? What are government policies you think they're right? Some government policies you're enjoying, you think it's proper for them to have done this?
Quality education.
Quality education. Now, do we have quality education in Nigeria?
In some states we do.
Okay, in some states?
Yes.
All right.
Like Ekiti State, they have best education. They have quality education. And now they are bringing out the UBE, that's the Universal Basic Education, for students who walk on the street.
How did you know that Ekiti State has a very good educational system?
Well, I have someone related over there.
Okay.
And I've been there.
All right.
So when I was there, I was actually in primary school. They treat you well, go swimming, they give you adequate feeding, you even take fruits. It's like a place they just make you to enjoy. But when it comes to learning, they are very strict.
All right, now talking about education, right? Now, what's the difference between government schools and public schools in Nigeria? And if you think we have a gap, do you think that gap should exist?
To me, I feel government schools are better than public schools.
Okay.
Government schools have more morals than public schools do.
Sorry, you're talking about government and private schools. That's public against private schools, right? So what's the difference?
The difference is that private schools, they are standard schools. They have quality education. They treat children very, very well. But when you're in a government school, especially in boarding schools, your parents aren't there. No one cares about you. You live your own life. But to me, I think government schools are better, because when you live your own life, you get better and you know how to live alone without parents.
So which should we encourage parents to put their kids in? We are still coming to of course all we are talking about is basic education, right? Good. Now we are still coming to how the quality, trying to assess the quality of the education we met out in public schools against private schools, because what you're talking about now is self-reliance, right? Now, if someone happens to go to a government school, the person at the long run learns how to stay on himself or by himself or on his own, because there's nobody there to checkmate him, right?
Yes.
Now let's talk about how quality the education is that we give out in government schools against that in private schools.
To me, private school education is better than government school education. Because private schools, you just take time to write, then your teacher explains very, very well. That's to say you have more understanding in private schools than you have in government schools.
Does it have anything to do with the funding? Because we know that in private schools, the funds are higher, right?
Yes.
Good. Now, and in government schools, it's just little stipend that they pay there. Does it have anything to do with the funding? When talking about the quality education, does it have anything to do with the funding? I'm still on you, Goswin.
Yes, it does. Like, I go to Great Blessing School. Like, we pay 120,000 naira each term.
What class are you?
Primary 5. By September, we're going to JSS1. So, my elder brother is in a government school, and highest he pays 30,000.
In a government school?
Yes.
What class is he?
SS2.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that government schools, the funding is much lower than private schools.
Okay. And that's why you think there's a difference in the quality, how quality education is that they make out, right? So what would you rather say if we are supposed to run a government school against a public school? Do you think there should be a balance between the quality, how quality the education we give out? I'll come to you, Michael.
Well, from my own perspective on the difference of education, government and private schools. The private schools have an upper hand, they have better quality education. They have new updated textbooks being distributed to the students to read. They have adequate security. And that is another thing why I would prefer to put my child in private school and in government school.
We'll still continue with basic education and all that. I mean, these are kids, talking about political thought, and of course, right now we are dealing with government policies on education, the difference between public and private schools. We'll come back to it after the break. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in house like Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse. Weekdays on NCTV.
All right, so welcome back from that short break. Still talking about the difference between public and private schools. Michael, you were on something before we found a short break. Now, quickly, I wanted to talk about the security. We are still looking at why people prefer private schools than public schools. Let's look at the security of children in public/private schools.
Let me start with private schools. In private schools, they have adequate security, always active at all times. They have security men always patrolling the school premises, even the hidden places, to know if there's something going wrong. And they always protect the children so the children won't be harmed.
Now, you heard about the kidnap that took place in Dapchi, right? Talking about the Dapchi school girls, about 100 girls, you know, that we are taken away by Boko Haram and all of that. Now, you think if that were to be a private school, that wouldn't have happened?
Yes, it might not have happened. Likewise, it might have happened.
Okay.
Because of in private schools, their building is always they're properly fenced, very high, and the security men are always outside patrolling. So why would Boko Haram and some private schools, yes, there are police nearby, so why would Boko Haram thinking of going there? And you can always evacuate their children very efficiently. That's another thing about private schools.
When there is an alarm or something.
And if in that incident with the schoolgirls, there was a hole in the wall. That's where they used to pass to come out to go and steal the girls. That's
Really?
what happened. Yes.
So
when
they
were
went through the
showing,
holes.
yeah, when I was watching the news, they were showing different places of the school. There were holes, and there were big places in the hole in the wall that people could
And then
just
the government
pass.
couldn't cover that. Okay.
And another thing about the reason why I prefer private to government is that in government schools, cultism is very easy to carry out. Some children live in fear in their government schools, thinking that yes, there are cultists in this place and they can harm you and all this. And drug abuse is also there in government schools. Some children can sneak out just to go out and buy drugs and come inside and misuse it. And the people don't really patrol to check the hostels, the classrooms, whether people are there. And it's not very good. That's why I prefer a private to a government school.
Okay. Now, talking about security, of course, we are still looking at the issue of kidnap of children, you know, in schools. What is your thought on that?
In private schools, they have more security than government schools. About the Dapchi incident, in private schools, there's security cameras. So security guards can be at alert. So if any case is happening, they can just use the walkie-talkie and they solve the problem. But in government schools, I've seen government schools that there's a fence in the school that is just broken. You can just wear normal clothes and go out from the school and nobody knows.
Now, let's talk about discipline, right? We've talked about security, we've talked about quality education and all that. Now, the discipline, looking at discipline, you know, you were raising a point, Goswell, why you think government school in that regard is better. You're talking about self-reliance, right? Yes. Now, when someone will be able to stay on his own because there is no this constant checkmate by school authorities or guardian or teachers or anybody. Yes. Now, going back to that, discipline, does that have a correlation with discipline? When you are not properly checked or when you are not constantly checked or put on the check by the authorities, does that foster discipline?
Yeah. In private schools, I see it as they over pamper children.
In private schools?
Yes.
What's the definition of pampering?
Pampering means not discipline a child for. Even when a child does something wrong, you still pamper the child. That's to say that when a child does something wrong, you still don't talk to the child, you don't spank the child, you just leave the child. And if the child continues doing it, and when he grows up, he'll be addicted to it, and he might become a thief, and he might end up in the prison.
Okay, so in disciplinary measures, you think the government schools are better off?
Yes.
Trying to discipline a child. What are your thoughts, Michael? Is it the same thing?
Well, I'll have to disagree with what he said because of it's not all private schools that they just take you if you over pamper you. There are some private schools in Nigeria that they classify it as American private schools in Nigeria. They always say those schools, they don't beat children, highest they just send you out of class, sit under your table. But thereby there are also Nigerian private schools where they flog, they give you severe punishment, so you remember that if I do this thing again, yes, I'll
You'll be
get
punished.
punished.
Now,
And the reason why I prefer private to government because of, let me give an example. Have you heard of the incident that happened in Nasarawa State? In Nasarawa State now, no school, private or government schools, they should not flog children. Because there was a particular school that they flogged the children. They used hands on the children. The children were bleeding and they was very injured. When the principal came and saw the children, he was also part of the people. He pretended to be the good person, but he was also part of the people that were beating the children. So the principal got fired. In Nasarawa State now, there's no flogging of children.
okay,
That's one thing I hate about government schools. Sometimes they take the beating too far.
to an extreme.
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, you want to say something? All right. Now, we are gradually coming back to the government, right? Now, this administration talked so much about corruption. You're aware, right? Yes. Now, do you think the fight against corruption is being justified? Do you think there's the actual fight against corruption in Nigeria now? And if you understand what corruption is, you can enlighten us too.
Well, the act against, let me know, for me, to be true to myself, the act against corruption is very low.
The
because
fight
of the
against
fight against corruption is very, very low.
Why do you think?
Because of, if our police, our soldiers, they are corrupted too. And even though the government will try and do something about it, they cannot, because of these are the people that they are also sending to go and fight against corruption.
Why would you say the security operatives are corrupt? Are you there with them? Or how do you find out? What mechanism did you use, to measure that up?
It happens. On the news, you can see when they arrest soldiers, like recently now, they are arresting soldiers, they are having proof over raping people. And in the past, like a few years ago, there are some governors, was it politicians, they said that went abroad and raped people in America. So even some of our security defenses, they are corrupted. So you can just bring a bag of money here. If you do this for me, yes, this is what you get.
Okay.
The same thing with our judiciary arm. There's some of our judges that they will bribe to do this. But apart from that, there are some other good people that no matter how big the money is, that they will still stick to the law.
All right, so you think the fight against corruption is not justified?
It's not justified. I
Can you
classify
give
it as
us
injustice.
your ratio from 0 to, sorry? You see it as injustice?
Yes.
That is what is going on now?
Yes.
Not the fight against corruption. I'll get back to you on that, Michael. Goswill, the fight against corruption that APC-led government has promised us so far. Of course, it was one of the things that, saw them, that brought them to limelight during the election, if you know what I'm talking about. Do you think that fight has been justified?
Well, it has not. I agree with his point.
Okay. For the first time, you agree with him. All right.
I agree with him because even in Rivers State just recently, you can even see there's a corrupted man. You can see army, police, civil defense getting guns, marijuana for gunmen, and even join gunmen to kill people just because of money. So the corruption level of Nigeria is very, very high, and seriously, they have not been fighting corruption.
So what have this government been doing if they have not been fighting corruption? What do you think they have been doing with their time? This is 3 years, but tomorrow will make it 3 years complete. And our president is coming back for the second term. What's your thought on that? He's coming back for re-election. You understand what I mean by that? What's your thought on that?
Right now, I'm sure APC, they are focusing on other things because of that. I think they are trying to do something with China now. According, I don't know.
APC or the government?
The APC. The thing is that every aim of a political party is to control government.
Okay.
So you classify the ruling party now as the government.
That's right.
So APC right now, I think I don't know if it's true or not. It's a rumor that they are working on something with China. Maybe that's what they have been focusing on their attention to now.
What about the next year's election? You think their attention is not there at all?
No,
Because,
I'm sure
like
he's
I said,
prepared.
our president is coming back again next year.
Yes, the reason why I'm sure APC are doing all these things now, they want to do something good, rememberable So next year, they will be voted for again.
All right.
And PDP, too, they are trying to, PDP and other parties involved, they are trying to up their game so they can be elected.
Next year?
Yes, they are carrying out parties and parades, all those things, and it's very good for the political party. So Nigeria will see, yes, you are a good ruler, and they will elect you next year.
Now, Goswell, if I know you're a child, but I still know you have parents, which means you get to hear certain things, and I still know that you're in school. It means you can hear certain things from your schoolmates. Now, can you compare the economic situation right now with what we had as of, I wouldn't know, like, what is the economic situation right now? Being careful what to ask you.
The economic situation is good, but the economy, our rulers are trying, but they need to try harder. The country is good. We're rich in natural resources. Everything is going good in the country, but corruption is making this country go very low.
And according to what is said, this government have not really fought corruption.
Yes.
You know, to the level that they promised Nigerians. Good. Now, what are the other indications or other factors you look at that this government has done well in?
There are some events being taken up for orphanages, like for the orphanage for homeless children.
Okay.
They're just going to some orphans. They used to donate food, water.
This government, yeah?
Yes, and they used to take care of them. That is one of the good factors.
That you've seen.
Yes.
All right.
And
okay.
And they are creating schools that will take all these homeless children that are not even in orphanages, all these hawkers off the streets. Like he said earlier, that they are going to take them into schools and give some of them jobs.
Okay.
The same thing he said. Just yesterday, the Senate President visited the an IDP camp in Benue State to celebrate Children's Day with them. So I feel that the country, in that sector, the country is doing very well.
Now, tomorrow is the World Democracy Day, Nigerians Democracy Day, not World. And I know you're children, but I know you have a little insight on what democracy is. Now, you think Nigeria is truly, or have truly proven to be a democratic nation, Michael?
Like Nigeria is democratic in nature. Like for those who don't know, like according to Abraham Lincoln's version of democracy, it is found that democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Do you think that is happening right now? Do you think Nigeria have practiced democracy, to worth that definition you just gave?
According to our name Nigeria, when it goes out, yes, it looks like we're democratic in nature.
It looks like.
Yes, but before we were very democratic. The government will listen to people's ideas, other citizens in the country, but now they just want to do what they have to do. Any idea they get, they'll just drop it out.
Does it have to do with this government, or it has been like that for a long time?
I won't know. For the past 3 years now, it has been like that.
All right.
But I remember when PDP was in power, it was, let's say, half and half, because they will listen to ideas. Sometimes they employ those ideas, but there are some occasions where they don't even listen to the people anymore. And that's why right now, presently, because of that factor, people are going on riots. Like recently in town, they were having a riot, and my mom told all of us to stay inside the house. She didn't want us to go out. It got to a point, soldiers were using tear gas and water to spray.
When was that?
People.
Last 2 weeks?
No, not last 2 weeks. Maybe last month or last 2 months. It happened in Abuja here in town.
Okay.
So it got to the point, they didn't want to listen. The soldiers didn't want to listen. It got to a point they had to start shooting bullets in the air.
Wow.
And that is very dangerous because of some. I've seen something on the news in America. Some people are celebrating. They were celebrating and they were drunk, so they shot bullets in the air and they entered someone's chest somewhere else in the area.
Wow.
So that's not good at all. I just pray the bullets they were shooting in the air did not touch anybody.
All right. Goswell, now, do you think we are practicing true democracy is one thing. He gave us definition of what democracy is, according to Abraham Lincoln, right? Now, do you think we are following the tenets of that definition? Do you think we are abiding, seriously as a democratic state or nation to what Abraham Lincoln said in his definition?
In this current government now, the government is not really listening to what the people of the nation are saying.
So you think the true democracy is not being practiced in Nigeria? Good. Now, looking at next year's election, what are we expecting next year?
We're expecting a very good government. A government that will take care of us, listen to our ideas, and work with each other. Like, we will need to be 5 and 6. Treat the citizens as if they are also in political powers, which they are not. Listen to what they have to say. That's why they are news broadcast, radio stations. Use all those methods for the citizens to talk to the government. So everybody will be at peace. Like the government now, there's a particular governor that the president has been paying him money to give the workers, but he did not give the workers of the community. He gave the money to himself, and then later he now entered this car and was running around, was begging people begging the president to help him. I'm sure you have heard about that really recently.
Yeah.
And that's not good. It's not good at all. That's another factor why the nation is being divided. We're always going into violence now. Now we have no choice but to do riots. That's what the people are doing now. They have no choice but to do riots. And another thing is, another good factor is, I like that the president has been establishing anti-corruption. That's the only thing I've seen that's against corruption, anti-corruption groups in schools. Like in my school, we have a club that we go out of the school to all these democratic places, like where the government and politics people, and we always go there to give speeches, say no to corruption in my school.
All right, to you, Goswe, what are we expecting next year? Looking at the fact that the government in power is coming back for the second tenure, and then looking at the country again, like according to what you said, the promises made are not being fulfilled, or the fact that we are not really practicing true democracy, what are your expectations?
Politicians, most of them say, but they can't do. So, but I'm praying that next year, when they say, they will actually do it.
How do you figure out who will be able to do something, that the person says? Is it from the manifesto? Is it during the campaign? Or is it inherent in the person himself?
Inherent in the person himself and the campaign.
So we should be careful to receive some campaign promises, right?
Yes, because most governors and presidents, they don't really fulfill their promises.
All right. Before we go there, our time is fast spent. I told you guys that it is not just adults that talk about government policies and politics. Now, these wonderful children in the studio with me today have done justice to Nigerian politics and policies, and of course have given us insight into what they think their parents and themselves as children, their roles, what they should be or what they should look like. Thank you very much, Michael.
You're very welcome. Thank you for bringing us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you, Gaswil.
Thank you very much.
And then this also is a challenge to a parent. Now, the much information we let our children have, determines how exposed they're going to be. I know so most children in the age range will not be able to, stand a live transmission. Sitting here and talking to us about Nigeria. Now, as parents, let's be careful what we tell them. You don't just put in a musical channel for your kids. Let them learn how to dance. Now, as Nigerians, there's certain information that we should let our children have, and it will help us to have this kind of children. I'm sure if these children grow up, they'll be very, very meaningful and useful to the Nigerian society and public. And again, happy Children's Day to our children. We know it's belated, but from National Discourse, happy Children's Day to Nigerian wonderful children, and of course to you, Michael and Goswil. And this is where we draw a curtain on National Discuss today. Remember, we're talking about children's political thought, which justice has been done to that. It's a bye from me. Meet you same time tomorrow. And let's remember again that tomorrow is Nigerian Democracy Day. Sit close to your television. We have people that will talk about Nigerian politics. See you same time tomorrow. Bye.